Yeah. So the to kind of segue with that, kind of catering to the masses in some degree, with all the swearing. I do think that the Oscars themselves were, at least one or two of them, and you probably can guess what I'm talking about right now, were very much, popular favorites, like Oppenheimer and Barbie, right? The Barbenheimer combo.
The Barbenheimer.
and and I'm wondering because I think it was the last time we had like the perfect combination of the all the winners being not only popular but really good movies. And I'm not saying that Barbenheimer was a perfect combo, but that was like 1939, where we had Gone with the Wind, we had Wizard of Oz. They were all the popular favorites, but they were also all the you know
Critic
what
darlings.
the critic, yeah, exactly, the critic darlings. And do you think that the Barbenheimer energy, the Barbenheimer Kenergy, kind of played into that? Like, do you think they were mostly looking at, oh man, this is getting a lot of commercial favor, like maybe we should actually pay attention to this, and especially in the case of Barbie, like that weirded me out by the fact that it was nominated, except for the fact that it was the whole Barbenheimer meme.
um, I think even without the Barbenheimer meme, I think Barbie would have been nominated.
You want to say
I
more on that?
I think the Academy might have been that starved for um female-led films, or that it was on the nose enough message wise that they felt even if it didn't get super popular like it did, they probably would have felt they would have fallen under pressure had Barbie not been nominated.
I mean, they already got a lot of heat from Margot Robbie not being even nominated for Best Actress.
That is true. Which, to be honest, um, I don't know that she needed. Uh, I thought, okay, so the Barbie movie.
Let's get into it. This is where the fun begins.
This is really funny. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, I need to. Where are the best director nominees? There they are. There they are. Not only did Margot Robbie not get nominated for Best Actress, but Greta Gerwig did not get nominated for Best Director. And both of those, I think, were desert deserved to not be nominated, or undeserved to be nominated. Now I did not see Naiad with Annette Bening getting nominated for Best Actress. I've seen her in other things and know her to be good. Uh, I know Margot Robbie to be fairly good, but I did not find her performance in Barbie to be magical. um, Again, back to the winner, Emma Stone. Again, I did not see Poor Things, but I've heard just rave reviews for her. I thought she was great in La La Land, which she won for. I thought she was good in Birdman. I thought she was good in, heck, I thought she was fine in Amazing Spider-Man. Like, I think Emma Stone does all right. um, I did not see Annette Bening in Naiad, but my vote for Best Actress, most people would say Lily Gladstone. Mine was for Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. I thought I thought she was very good in that one, capturing a lot of the she really plays very well the did she or didn't she, like, I don't know how much spoilers of the movie we're offering. I think we've already spoiled it a little bit, but hey, these are last year's films, okay? Like,
Exactly. The Oscars already happened a
the,
month ago.
the the Oscars happened. We're gonna carry on, because Anatomy of a Fall, it doesn't give you an answer on
Mhm.
if she killed her husband or not. So it just shows you the court case, and then it presents you the evidence and you're kind of acting as a juror yourself as the audience. And the movie ends with the decision. She's declared not guilty, but there's just enough seed of doubt. Like there are certain movies from back in, the 50s, 60s, when the crime drama was at its peak.
Hmm.
And most of them ends with like this plot twist, and then the evidence is revealed, the person is guilty and arrested or whatever, or the evidence is revealed and the person is declared not guilty, and as they leave they reveal that they actually did it and now they got away with it. And it's like but Anatomy of a Fall doesn't offer any of that. It's like she's declared not guilty and she's happy for it, and she looks relieved because at least she's not um unjustly accused. But as the audience, we're not, that there's enough contradictory evidence and things like that, enough motive, enough means and things that it's like, well, I could go either way.
Hmm.
And I think Sandra Holler does a good job of performing it without, like, she's throughout the whole movie, she's insistent that she's innocent. She's insistent that she's innocent. But as things are presented, you see like she gets fear in her eyes. But is it of being found out, or is it of being unjustly imprisoned? And
Hmm.
I think she handled that very well, and she would have been my personal choice. Yes, even over Lily Gladstone, who did very well in Killers of the Flower Moon. And Carrie Mulligan in Maestro was fine. I think she has a very real looking, a natural looking smile. Like when she smiles on screen, I'm like, she looks like she's actually happy. But
Yeah.
but otherwise, uh, of the nominees that I saw, Sandra Holler would have been my choice, and I would have picked, out of the three I saw, Carrie Mulligan, Lily Gladstone, and Sandra Holler. I would have picked any of them over Margot Robbie.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, for Barbie. And if I saw Naiad or Poor Things, I imagine I would have picked either of them over Margot Robbie and Barbie too.
And then with Greta Gerwig too, while she has a good track record, and there are some really, there good and better views of what Barbie was supposed to be about, but it was just so dang messy and trying to
Mm-hmm.
keep one's toe on the line the entire time that it just kept going back and forth, and it was just so confusing that the directing didn't seem to have a great play in it. It was just trying to make everyone happy.
Yeah, yeah. And I think by trying to make everyone happy, it pleased some people on a purely superficial level. Like, you have all the people singing "I'm Just Ken" and
Right, yeah,
things
exactly.
like that. And then maybe someone found it engaging on the deeper level. I did not. Like earlier in the film, I thought it was there are like the surface level feminist ideas that I was like, oh, okay, women deserve rights. All right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can get behind that.
Well,
but
and yeah, it's
but
keep saying.
at the same time, Barbie itself is not a utopia because they oppress the Kens. And like
Hmm.
the Kens don't realize it, which is what the feminist claim of women who are not in third or fourth wave feminism. So like women who are content to be a housewife or whatever, or are happy to uphold the patriarchy. It's a third or fourth wave feminist will say, oh, that's because you don't realize you're being oppressed. And then um uh and the Kens are supposed to, like, they're supposed to have the violent reaction to oppression by installing the patriarchy, and then the Barbies all just accept it, which you know it, again, like you said, it was messy. Is like that was such a weird plot point to put
Hmm.
so late in the film. It's like the
Hmm.
last half hour of the movie where the Kens come back and install the patriarchy, and then it's like a total detour from what the original plot was with America Ferrera's character and what was it, Grace,
I don't remember her name.
Sasha, the girl Sasha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was like it was a total detour from Barbie's story. So I don't know if you've ever watched the film critic Nutsa on YouTube. She does um, uh, video essays on film.
Might have seen a couple of videos, yeah.
She's my favorite on YouTube right now. Um, and she did like an almost 2 hour video on Barbie. It was like I think it was longer than the actual I think it was longer than the actual Barbie movie.
Hmm.
Or and she made a really good point that this Barbie was supposed to be like a female led comedy movie. You know, it was directed and half written by Greta Gerwig. Noah Baumbach was a writer on it too. You know, Margot Robbie and America Ferrera are like these actresses are supposed to be the lead hearts of the film. But even then, Nutsa made the point that this female led film can't carry an entire plot without it being about men.
Right. I mean, Ryan Gosling kind of carried the film.
Well, right. So that's what I was saying is like when you ask most people I've talked to who saw the movie, I asked them even before I saw it because I didn't see it in for almost like I didn't see it until January of this year. So I
Hmm,
missed
yeah.
it throughout the whole Barbenheimer summer.
Right.
I didn't watch
That
it at all.
that's probably for the best.
Yeah, I skipped the whole Barbenheimer summer thing. I watched almost all the Best Picture nominees in January. It was like a 2 week thing. I watched one almost every night, but I still missed Poor Things and Zone of Interest. Um, but anyone I asked before I went and saw the movie, asking them what their favorite part was, and almost to a person, they said Ryan Gosling as Ken. And so, it was, okay, not only is this does this female-led film change the plot to be man-focused, everyone's favorite part of this female-led film is a
It's the guy.
man. So that's what made the Oscars ceremony so funny was that when they were going through the best song nominees and things like that, and they bring they do the full I'm Just Ken performance.
Oh
It
gosh,
was
yeah.
like 100 male performers and things like that as they're singing this man song, and it's everyone's favorite part of the whole ceremony. It was like, I think Barbie failed dramatically in its purpose.
Well, that's the question is like, what was its purpose? Like, because
What was
I've seen two sides of it, right? You have the third, fourth wave feminism side of it, and that's almost what people say is the superficial level. And then some people who like to take a weird Straussian approach to it will say there are weird nuggets of wisdom in here, and maybe there are. And but like I said, it was so messy. It was just things strung together by Ryan Gosling, practically.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to like I thought America Ferrera was really funny in it. Like I thought
Well,
I
that's the other thing too, is that there weren't really any straight characters. Like in a comedy, you need a straight character.
oh the straight oh okay
Yeah. Well, then there's that.
I was thinking of a different I was thinking of a different
Right.
straight. I was like
Right. There's the comedic characters, and they
right the
tend to
straight man.
instigate a lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
Right. Even just for the benefit of the audience, the straight character needs to be the balance and kind of the source of reason. The closest thing to a straight character in that movie was Rhea Perlman, who was far from the straightest character, or no, who was far from a straight character generally. And so that's also, it was unbalanced in that sense, even though it was maybe it was trying to keep its toe on the line. There was very little line to keep one's toe on.
Yeah, it seems like every moment was rung for a joke. I guess the only part I can think of would have been like would have been okay, now it's bugging me. What was America? Was it Grace? Was that what her name was? I'm pulling it up right now. Oh gosh.
IMDb
Everyone's
lifesaver.
character. Yeah, everyone's name is Barbie. Oh my gosh. They're all named freaking Barbie. Okay. Why is she not even in the top credited? Okay. Uh yeah, so I I yeah, I suppose the closest
Gloria.
Gloria. Gloria. And then you had, Michael Cera as Alan. Um,
Also, the least straight character.
um, so I suppose like the moments they tried to wring out importance or emotion or depth were when Barbie's on the bench and starts crying and sees the old lady and says you're beautiful, and I'm like, okay, kind of a sweet moment. Yeah, there's beauty in everything. I get what they were going for, that
Yeah.
everything's got some beauty in it, and you don't need to just look at just the plastic beauty standard. Um, but then it was gone, and then we get the Gloria's speech on the paradoxical life of a woman in the modern day era, which this very well could be me being extremely out of touch and ignorant of the real world. But I was listening to a lot of the things she was saying, and I did not get it. Like, maybe that makes me a grade A misogynist, and I don't know, but like when she was talking about the things women can't do and the things they have to do, and how they contradict, like I I I didn't I didn't see where in our modern day world that's present. I wonder if I can pull up a full transcript.
Oh, when you're canceled.
I may very much be. Let's see, Barbie paradox speech. Okay, all right. Uh, it is literally impossible to be a woman. You have to be thin, but not too thin, and you can never say you want to be thin. I Who said you can't say you want to be thin? I I don't know who said that. I don't. I mean, I feel like in their attempt to universalize the if the feelings that the feelings that women have, they generalize men. Like
Mhm.
at the same time as I don't want to be a grade A misogynist, I don't want to do like the hashtag not all men thing because that seems a little like uh,
Right.
uh, cheap too. But it's like, let's see, you have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. That's anybody. Like
Yeah, exactly.
anyone should have to lead, but not squash other people's ideas. Uh, you have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. It's like, now, okay, I can talk about the motherly instinct and paternal protection and things like that, but it's like I feel like she is maybe this is no, I'm a young man. I'm a young man. I have not been in the workforce long, I'm an adult, but I'm a young adult. So there are plenty of things in life that I have not experienced, that I have not heard firsthand other people's experience. I have no woman I know has told me that this speech resonated with them. In fact, I've spoken with two women who said this thing was stupid.
Mhm.
So it's like I just
Well, and I mean, she is
yeah.
conflating all these ideas as social construction, but a lot of it is actually referencing something that's actually kind of natural and inherent in a lot of people. But she's making it out that it's just these are the rules that people lay down for no reason. Well, we don't exactly lay all of them down per se. It's just how people are reacting to a lot of things that she's pointing to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so where it comes down to is in the full list of all the contradictions, you have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out
Mm-hmm.
of line. um, it turns out in fact that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. if I had a nickel for every time men were blamed for something, that is not a man's fault. Like, who do women wear makeup for?
Exactly.
I don't think it's men. I don't think women wear makeup for men. It's like okay, I don't want to get like too canceled. I don't
Oh, well,
with my conspiracies,
I think
but
there's two sides of that. I
Mhm.
think there's some self uh self reflection that's going on with makeup, and obviously you, myself, we don't wear makeup. That's how we are. But like
Well, you don't.
fair
I'm a theater kid, dude. I was wearing
enough,
mascara.
fair enough.
I was wearing mascara the other day.
On the occasional necessity for due to lighting and distance. But like there is a sense where I was listening to an interview previously, and where they talk about how women like to hear things, men like to see things. So there's two sides of the same coin with makeup, where women want to feel comfortable in it, but part of that is to feel like they they're wanted by men sometimes. That's why they will also try to look prettier. There's a bunch of different layers, no pun intended, going into that. Um, right? Yeah, I should be a comedian, but I think there's a few different parts to that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But a lot of these things that she brings up, I feel like should apply for a lot of people.
Oh, they
Like
do absolutely.
and like men too. That I
Hmm.
feel like I'm not going to pretend I can speak for women. I'm I will not I will attempt to not project what I think women actually think. I can say what women have told me about this movie, that not every woman likes the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
And but just reading the speech on the things that she complains about, um it's just like, okay, I think even if men do some of these things, they shouldn't be. And the movie is against toxic masculinity, which, hey, I'm against toxic masculinity. I think it becomes a label that gets put on too many men
Hmm.
who aren't doing it. And I think this movie, um you know, I think it generalizes far too much to really be effective satire. Um,
Yeah. Well,
and
it makes pretty sweeping statements to appease both sides, and you can
exactly.
maybe sift through it and find the nuggets of wisdom, like people will talk about, if they did like it, on less than a superficial level, on more than a superficial level. But yeah, like you're saying, it's very sweeping, it's very broad, doesn't really get down to the actual problems, just kind of the vague problems.
And yeah, it makes sweeping statements and then applies it to general men. And
Hmm.
then you have Alan, who's like the peak man from like he's a fourth wave feminist dream boy, if there is such a thing. But they never really explain why he's better, other than that he dresses up in a pink jumpsuit in support of them. So it's like, it seems like a fourth wave feminist's dream boy is just a girl.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
kind of makes me think of John Mulaney, where he's talking about drag queens,
Mhm.
and it's like they always have this attitude too, like you're gonna put on a dress and a wig, and you're gonna be mean and rude about it. What is your image of a woman like? You should have stayed a guy. So it's kind of the other way around, though. In
Yeah,
some ways, yeah.
exactly. And then even just going to the tagline of the film on the posters, she's everything. He's just Ken. It's like there are two problems with that. One is an
Mm,
attack on men, one is an attack on women. So he's just Ken. That's the attack on men. That
Hmm.
like the idea that oh yeah, she's got it all, and his life revolves around her. And the attack on women goes back to what I mentioned in the Netza video. This movie cannot be just Barbie focused. They could have had Ken as a funny supporting character and had it be the women's movie they wanted. But they lost track of the main plot, or they realized they couldn't flesh out an hour and a half on the main plot, because the main plot kicks in when Barbie has thoughts of death and she needs to find out what problem her owner is facing. And her owner is a human woman, Gloria, who's having problems with her daughter, Sasha. And you they could have focused on the relationship of the three women,
Yeah.
Barbie, Gloria, and Sasha. But they do that for about 40 minutes of the movie.
Hmm.
And then Ken brings the patriarchy to Barbie Land. And now the movie is this man versus women battle. And so it's like fourth wave feminists can't talk about anything but men.
They don't think they can live without men. They couldn't talk at all if they didn't have them.
Right. Exactly. It's like this movie wanted to pass the Bechdel test so hard. Recall the Bechdel test.
Vaguely.
Right.
I've
So
heard of many different tests.
right. So this one is two named female characters need to have a full conversation that's not about men, and
Mm-hmm.
for it to pass that test, it's testing whether is there like female representation in the story that stands up on its own. And this movie, starts out with that. You have Barbie's problem, you have all the other Barbies around worried about the problem, and then you have the Sasha and Gloria problem, and then it becomes like the big problem becomes the Ken problem.
Becomes the
And
men versus women, which ultimately almost ruins the Bechdel test.
well, right, so it does pass it, because
Almost, yeah, exactly.
they do have multiple conversations that aren't about men, but then they just can't keep the plot away from being male focused. And
Hmm.
then I thought the most poignant moment of the film was I'm just Ken. So not only was it like funny, but to be honest, I didn't go crazy for the song like a lot of other people
Oh
do.
yeah.
I'm not playing it outside of the movie. I'm not singing along to it or whatever. But like that moment, like the point where Ken realizes that the relationship is not what defines me. It is I need to have an identity, she needs to have an identity, and our identities together can make a relationship strong. And then so I feel like Ken had not only the funniest moments, but also the most poignant and the things I took away with from the
Word
movie.
10.
More, it was all the Ken stuff, and it was like, so that's why I think the movie fails, is that Ken is in an abusive relationship, and that's what a lot of people didn't mention was Barbie never tells him that they're not a couple, because he's when he's asking to do all these things with her, when he's asking to stay over, when he's asking if she wants to go, whatever, it's like she asks why, and he says because we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and then she acts like there are no responsibilities associated with that.
Yeah.
Like, and then and then at the end, she says, you're Kenneth, you need to find yourself. And so she gave him good advice there, but she's essentially using him at the start
Hmm.
of the movie, and that's never treated as wrong. It's treated like it's Ken's fault, that he was reading into something that was never there. And then at the end of the day, she kind of admits that there was never anything, but she didn't tell him that. She just ignores him all the time, disregards him and things like that, and never tells him that they're not a couple.
Yeah.
which is gaslighting. Like I don't know, like in a way it's kind of an abusive relationship that they end up getting out of at the end. But Ken's sadness is played for comic relief. He tries kissing her and she dodges it and he starts crying, and it's just like, uh I mean, there's, I guess, the male fragility thing, it does exist. Like there are those guys out there who cannot imagine that girls won't want them and then lash out at women because of it, and that exists.
I mean, it's where the
That's
whole
a
red
thing.
pill movement came from. Yeah.
Right, the whole
Mhm.
based sigma male red pill thing, like,
Yeah.
um it and I'm not saying you can't make a story about it. I just think having Barbie be the hero when she, in a way, emotionally manipulates Ken from the start of the film,
Hmm.
um, it kind of makes her somewhat villainous at the start, which is not a good look for your film.
Right.
So, yeah, we've spent a while talking about Barbie, but the
There's too much
thing,
ranting to do, you know?
there's too much ranting to do, and it would not have made so much money were it not for Barbenheimer.
Yeah, exactly.
It maybe it would have made 500 or 600 million. It would not have made $1.4 billion
Yeah.
without the Barbenheimer thing. So it's crazy that this female led comedy that has both the funniest and most poignant moments from the males only reached this level of success because of another movie that has almost no females in
Right.
it. um
Ironic. Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I'll leave my Barbie rant at that. If you have anything more, feel free. But yeah, I've needed to get a little bit of that off my chest.
Yeah, not much except like just keep I just keep going on how messy it was, but just how ill defined it was, and I think you were touching on that a lot. Is it almost has this weird ADHD movement where it keeps looking at this thing, then he looks at this thing, needs to pass the test, needs to look at that thing again, and then it kind of ends up blowing up in the face if you're paying attention. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really all I give with that. Um, yeah, Ryan Gosling, why?